you taught us, okay, for the DGCA exams, and the knowledge is still with us. So thank you for that. If we were to do it again, which we will be for ATPL exams, but say we were to do it for the CPL exams, how would you recommend us to study?
So we follow SSRR model.
What's up? Welcome back to India's #1 pilot podcast, and happy to see your faces once again. So there are so many changes that have recently come to in basically aviation industry that are proposed, not yet implemented. There is FDTL change, there is CPL and MPL planned or that is proposed. Then there are another like few applications to ICAO from certain airlines. There are so many things. So today's discussion will be primarily focused on what is the difference between CPL and MPL, which countries do provide or airlines already do provide certain kinds of MPL programs. How do authorities exactly integrate those MPL programs? And then what are the differences between the conventional pathway, the cadet pilot program pathway, and conventionally the way the CPL has been working? And if at all this MPL gets integrated in Indian aviation, then what is the likelihood for it to be integrated, in what way? That is all we will be discussing. Then we will discuss that now everyone is done with their 12th. Some of you may be done with your graduations, and some of you may be considering to become a pilot now, or some of you have already been studying for the DGCA exams. Now, how to study for the DGCA exams? What did we do in order to study for our DGCA exams? Capt.Neha has trained until now from 2008 about, I would say, more than 1500 pilots so far. Right, more than that.
Yeah.
And that is direct training. Apart from that, indirect training, such as people who get your notes, they have studied from it, so that is indirect training. So those things we will discuss. Then we'll appreciate some of our students who have achieved great results in the 2025. So that's just for their shout outs. And yeah, then we'll sum the podcast up. What say? How does the plan of action?
The plan of action sounds good. So as we have seen, lot of amendments are happening in the Indian aviation industry. So we'll also discuss like why is this amendments necessary for Indian aviation,
Absolutely.
or why are these amendments coming now and not before. Okay, so this is something which we can discuss, so that if anyone is not sure whether this is the right time to get into aviation, would get some idea whether they should start their journey now or later.
Right, absolutely. So now or later, I mean, these, okay, when we dive into that we will discuss. Okay, so first question would be, the first topic of discussion would be CPL, conventional pathway CPL. What is it? And then MPL, what is it? Then we'll talk about the differences. Yeah.
Yes.
All right. So those are the changes that we could think of. If there are any other changes that you want to know about, do mention in comments, and we might miss those in this particular episode. But in next episodes, we'll definitely cover those. Sounds good?
Yes.
Okay. So currently CPL has essentially the same pathways, but one pathway is doing it with a cadet pilot program, and otherwise conventional pathway, what is considered as a conventional pathway, would be doing it CPL on your own. You pass your DGCA exams, you do your flight training, and then you come back or convert, or if you're flying from India, then you get your CPL license. Then you apply for the airlines. That would be essential pathway of doing CPL conventionally. What would be the cadet pilot program pathway?
So in cadet pilot program pathway, the initial selection process is conducted by an airline, and then the training, especially the flight training, that is facilitated by airline FTOs. the FTOs which
Mhm.
are affiliated with the respective airline. So that program is an airline cadet pilot program, whereas the student can choose to clear their exams beforehand and then be ready for the flight training as they complete their selection process. And medical is essentially the same, which they have to undergo class 2 medical followed by class 1 medical. And that medical is going to be again the same standard whether you're doing it cadet pilot program pathway or conventional pathway. Airline medical you need to clear whenever the airline selection process is taken place, and that is same whether you apply to airline after doing your conventional CPL or you are a part of cadet pilot program.
So can we say that there is a significant overlap between how the training is done for conventional pathway and how the training is done for cadet pilot program? Because that is the DGCA requirement which is met whether it is a cadet pilot program or it is conventional pathway.
Absolutely.
In cadet pilot program, you have to get your class 2 medical, same for conventional pathway. You
Correct.
have to get your class 1 medical,
Correct.
same for your flight training requirement. As per DGCA, whatever is the requirement, that is to be met.
Met,
Correct? There is no difference with that. Only difference that could be said is, Chintan, you go. What would be the difference?
So if we speak about the conventional cadet, mostly the cadet pilot program, we first decide which airline we want to go for.
Yeah.
And then according to the airline, the flight school, the type rating organization and the training curriculum is outlined.
Correct.
So for conventional, whenever you go for a conventional pilot program, you select a flight school and it follows all the DGCA requirement. That's it, and you get a CPL. But when you go for a cadet pilot program, there is like we did under the cadet pilot program from Florida, we had something called as UPRT, which I don't think so is part of the
DGCA requirement. It's not a DGCA
it's not a requirement, but for airline to train their cadets, they have introduced that in our training as a part of our training. So that would be difference in the cadet pilot program and the convention. This is about the flight training. There will be some additional maneuvers which airline wants us to do, depending upon what aircraft will be type rated on. And second thing is, see, whether you do your training conventionally or via the cadet pilot program, you have to clear the airline interview. So in cadet pilot program, the interview is before you even start your training.
Correct.
Okay, so at that point of time, the level of interview would be at that stage, particular stage. Like you haven't started your training, so question will be asked based upon that. And when you are done with your CPL, you are expected to know everything which is mentioned or you have studied in the DGCA exams, the flight training, the practical knowledge, and general aviation knowledge and the aircraft which you have flown. So all those things combined, you will be giving the airline interview, which will be a bit tougher because you have a lot of things to cover and remember at the same time.
Correct.
At the same time, competency is also higher, right? The person who is
Correct.
sitting for that interview has already completed his CPL or her CPL,
With type rating.
and has a hint of what is aeronautical
Correct.
decision making, what is situational awareness, all the competencies that are there. Not necessarily those have been fully developed by just finishing CPL, but at least there has been an initiation to those
Correct, correct,
competencies. Absolutely.
Yes, and your progress, your training progress is also monitored by the airline when you are a part of the cadet pilot program. So let's say if someone is taking more than usual to complete certain part, let's say private pilot license, then the airline may question the school, okay, why is this cadet taking longer than usual? What is the issue? Is it issue from the flight school or is it a student issue? But in conventional, there is no one to monitor your progress. You are yourself monitoring yourself, whether you are pacing it right or you're slow or you're quick, like that. So that is one of the difference, I would say. And major difference would lie in the cost, I would say, because when you do conventionally, you decide everything by yourself according to your budget. But when you go for cadet pilot program, they give you a cost which will include everything: your training, your CPL. So when you do it from the cadet pilot program, it will include everything: your CPL training, your type rating, your airline training. So yeah, it is a bit expensive if you compare it with the conventional pilot program. But when you complete your training, once the documents and everything are ready, you directly get into the airline depending upon the vacancies which are available by the airline.
That
Correct,
said, just the intricacy of cost. Intricacy of cost when you do your flight training abroad, the cost is always variable. The cost is fixed in India for the most part. But be it a cadet pilot program or conventional pathway, when we do it abroad, the cost is always variable because each lesson is up to competency and not just with respect to hours, measured with respect to hours. So that's what it is. This is for cadet pilot program versus conventional pathway. And very well said, Chintan, that like the expectation of competency for the assessment of cadet pilot program is different than the competency for the CPL holder. The same would vary for someone who is done with type rating as well. Now, the interviewer is not expecting a CPL holder to know type specific questions, right? Like absolutely not.
Which we have not. The aircraft which we have not. Let's say if I am a CPL holder, I have not done my type rating. So they can ask me about Cessna, about the DA-42 which I have flown. So I'll be able to answer that. But if they ask me some technical questions about the Airbus 320, supposing that I have not type rated, then it will be difficult for me to answer. Basic questions about the type will be asked because you are expected to know something because you are applying for the interview. But in detail, they don't expect to answer.
Right.
It would be a 5th grader is not expected to answer the questions of a 10th grader. A 10th grader is not expected to answer the questions of a 12th grader. The same way, a CPL holder is not expected to answer the questions of a type-rated person, and a type-rated person is not expected to answer the questions of a command upgrade. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Like, yeah.
That's very well said. Yeah, in short.
No, I mean, we do get these questions a lot that CPP interviews are easier than CPL. It is designed to be. It is supposed to be. Right. That's the...
Because the level, as you mentioned, the level of competencies are different at both the instances.
Yeah. All right. I think I used all my hyper energy until now. Now I'm going to go in my normal speaking mode, guys.
I
Energetic.
I think Nilay was on a sprint for some time.
No, I actually, matter of the fact, I'm very not feeling as much energy today. So the deliberate intent to bring that energy, I'm trying, because me not feeling energetic is not you have to face my low energy moment. So I'm trying. All right, guys. So guys, I need to recharge. You all continue.
Yeah. So you also mentioned one thing is about the cost of training. If we do it abroad, it's always variable. So just a quick pointer for students who are planning to do their training abroad. Let's say if a flight school is quoting any amount, let's say around 65 lakh rupees for your training, consider 10 to 15% upside of their training, because the currency in which you pay is the foreign currency. You don't pay in Indian rupees. So the conversion rate keeps on varying. And as we know, the market is volatile now due to various global events. So if you are on a very strict budget, then plan to do your training from India. If you think that 10 to 15% on top of your total CPL cost is what you can manage, then only plan to go outside.
Yeah, absolutely. And about Indian pathway, you have done flight training from India. You have done it from Baramati. So what would you say about the costs? Are costs variable or costs pretty much fixed?
The cost of flight training in India is dependent on what is the rate at which you make the payment. Like, for example, a student makes the payment towards the flight training, and that time whatever is the per hour cost, according to that he will be charged for that much amount. If in case he makes the payment for the entire flight training hours on that day, then on that day whatever is the per hour rate, accordingly he will be charged. If in case he just makes half of the payment at that rate and he makes the rest of the payment in next 6 months later or maybe 8 months later, then that time whatever is per hour rate of that flight school, that will be
Got it.
charged. So
Yeah.
that can change depending on the flight school as well as depending on the fuel rate which is prevailing at that point of time.
Yes.
So
Just to give an example, let's say today the per hour rate of flying in Cessna is 20,000 rupees.
right.
So today, if I were to enroll in that flight school and I pay for 100 hours, so I'll be
Hours.
paying 20 lakh rupees.
correct.
So let's say next month I want to make payment of the next 100 hours. So it will, and the rate is let's say 25,000 per hour. So I have to pay 25 lakh rupees.
Correct,
So
correct.
that is what you're talking about. right?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. That's in that way.
Hmm.
So that's what it is.
Mhm.
So it depends when you are, making the payment of the fees, and that's what matters. And other than that, more or less the flight training hours are more or less the same,
Same,
because in
yeah.
India there is no separate cost for dual flight training hours and solo flight training hours. Because in abroad, if you are doing a flight training under an instructor, then the cost is going to be more because of the instructor fees is going to be added, So that's the reason the dual flight training hours you will end up paying more, whereas solo flight training hours or solo flying hours you will not pay to the instructor, so that cost will be little lesser.
Which is included in the flight school fees, the instructor.
Yeah, which is included. Let's say, for example, 40 hours of dual flying hours fees is included, but if that student ends up doing 50 hours of dual flight training, then the 10 hours of extra needs to be paid more, right?
Okay.
So that is for flight training in abroad, whereas in India there is no separate fees for if you do flight training under under instructor or as solo.
Absolutely.
So
Okay.
that is the
Yeah.
difference.
Now, let's go to the next point, MPL versus CPL. Like we discussed what is current pathways being
Right, Yes.
offered right
right.
now, right? Like current pathways, CPL conventional, CPL cadets, CPL conventional Indian pathway, CPL conventional abroad pathway. Now, cadet pilot also has Indian pathways, abroad pathways, and as we have established that both have very much, like there is a lot of overlap between the trainings, only the schools are different. That is what it is. The whole training process is the same. The time when you give your airline interview varies, because in cadet pilot pathway it is before, in conventional pathway it is after, and hence perceived security of job is more. It's
For cadet.
perceived, okay? It's not essentially guaranteed. Mind the word here, mind the verbiage here. It is perceived, okay? There is no guarantee as such, because it is upon successful completion. And upon successful completion, meaning there are flight school standards that you have to always meet. If someone doesn't, then that is it.
Yeah,
Okay.
flight training standards. Yeah. check.
Another part is the person who is training as a cadet, if gets out of cadet pilot program for XYZ reasons, then that person can continue their pathway as a conventional CPL pathway from the state that they have stopped with the cadet pilot program pathway. Okay, they can absolutely, like if someone is flying from say New Zealand, they're done with 70 hours and they fail some checks a couple of times, multiple times, they are out of cadet pilot program. Now the person can start from that place itself to get their New Zealand CPL or get their Australian CPL or American CPL and continue and get their CPL after coming back to India. That is how essentially it is. Now, when we speak about MPL in this particular intricacy, that is more difficult. So now the new MPL program is proposed. What do you think how it is gonna be?
So MPL is multi-crew pilot license, which the airlines outside of India are using it, and it's an alternative to CPL, or maybe you can call it evaluation to CPL, as we have seen in the last couple of years. Earlier, there was only one method to become a pilot, which was the conventional pilot program. Now we have the cadet pilot program, and now the upcoming one, which is multi-crew pilot license. So in that, it is very airline specific. It's not something like you can do it by yourself. You have to be part of the airline first and then pursue your training. So in that program, depending upon the airline, first let's say 50 to 70 hours you will be flying an aircraft with two people on board. Once you're done with that training, then around 200 to 250 hours of simulator on the type the airline will ask you to train on, and then you're released and then you start flying for that airline. So this is in simple terms an MPL program, and the cost would almost be the same, and it is to be decided by the airline. And when we speak about the benefits of MPL, it would be a fast track career for people who have a clear goal in mind that they want to fly for a particular aircraft and for a particular airline only.
Fast track meaning it depends on the airline, how fast the airline needs the crew to be ready. If the airline decides to slow down the induction, there will be slowdown in that as well. Makes sense? Does that make sense?
Yeah, I mean, that depends. Like, let's say if we compare about the cadet pilot program as well, once you are done with your training, if the new aircraft deliveries are not coming in, then the cadet will be on hold, right?
Absolutely.
So it will be same as MPL.
Absolutely.
But the training will require an additional infrastructure of simulators for that particular time.
Absolutely.
And the current scenario, if we see in India, most of the simulators are full because the CPL holders who did their training during COVID, after COVID, everyone is going under training.
And also the airline pilots require simulators
Simulator
every 6
sessions,
months.
yeah. So the number of pilots in India is growing, and for that, if MPL program comes in, then we would need more simulator to cater to that demand as well.
Then I
So-
believe Airbus would provide those for the MPL program.
I mean, it depends. So the MPL program is still under draft. There's no concrete evidence or proof that it is approved by DGCA. This is all in talking stages. As we have seen, the aviation industry outside India has grown massively. If you compare US is massive, right? And then they have this kind of programs. This is to meet the demand. So in similar way, right now is the start of the golden era of aviation. So it's going to grow a lot in the coming 5 to 10 years. And that is why there is a discussion of the MPL program.
So absolutely. So in the US, what it is, in the US it is you do your CPL, then you do your instruction rating, or you do like say parachute jumping or something. So some of those flying the skydiving
General
airplanes or
aviation.
general aviation jobs until you gain 1500
Yes.
hours. Once you gain the 1500 hours, then you do the ATPL, the knowledge test. So once you do those ATPL knowledge tests, then you have your type rating, and once you have your type rating, then endorsed on your ATPL, then you get an airline job, right?
Yes.
That is the process. Now, what is the purpose of this? Purpose of this would be whoever is flying in the airline is well experienced in aeronautical decision making, good competencies. Now, we do not know how the MPL program in India would be structured, but if at all it had to be structured, and you can go back on previous episodes and see us saying that give it 5 to 10 years, India will have 1500 hours requirement. I've said
Yes,
that
yes.
multiple times. And this MPL program introduction is a way of doing it, because Indian flight training infrastructure cannot support 1500 hours building on your own. Now, MPL program, essentially, when we were at L3RS, there were MPL program students, right?
Yes.
There were students from Saudi, right? Saudi were the students who were in MPL program. Then I think Qatar Airways offers MPL program for its own citizens. Singapore Airlines offers MPL programs for its own citizens, and multiple airlines are there which offer MPL programs. How it is in those airlines is essentially you do 50 to 70 hours on a single engine aircraft and some on multi-engine aircraft. Total actual flight time experience is 70 hours. See, this is a biased opinion, but when we did our training, 50 hours is you just start to understand what is flying.
Yeah.
Okay. At that time, the training finishes on actual aircraft in MPL program. Whether it is good or bad, that is for you all and for the authorities to decide. We are no ones to judge that. Now, next is simulator of the 320s or 737s or whichever narrow body or wide body that there is. You do those another 150 to 200 hours on those simulators. After doing that, you don't become a first officer directly. In these airlines, Saudi, Qatar, Singapore, you become a second officer. You do supernumeraries as a second officer until you finish the 1500 hours on that type.
Yeah.
And then you give the ATPL exams. And then you become the first officer, okay, the junior most first officer in that specific airline. Now, this is the pathway that is being conducted in other airlines. Essentially, what does that mean is the 200 hours requirement to become a first officer in India is increasing to 1500 hours.
Yeah.
The whole, if you look at it, but it is only possible with the help of airline in India, because India doesn't have the training infrastructure to do 1500 hours on your own.
So the general aviation is limited in India. That's the main reason.
So the bar to become a first officer, which is currently 200 to 250 hours, that increases to 1500 hours.
Yes. And when we speak about the flexibility of MPL program, the pilots who are trained under MPL, they can only operate a multi-crew cockpit.
Yeah.
So let's say let's say during our training, we took the aircraft for a solo ride. Then we did 100 hours of solo cross country, like 50 hours of solo cross country as well. So that is not possible in MPL. Once you get an MPL, you have to fly in a multi-crew cockpit only. Meaning, at any point of time, there should be 2 pilots in the cockpit. So the options as a pilot becomes very limited. So you're tied up for that particular airline, for that particular type of aircraft. Whereas if you do a CPL program, in that you can fly for charter aircraft, you can do ferry flights, you can work for air taxis and stuff. So it gives you a lot of opportunity when you have a CPL, but MPL is restricted to only one particular thing.
And airline.
Yes, an airline.
So, in those 1500 hours, coming back to the topic that I talked about without actually, okay, is that in those 1500 hours, anything goes wrong, it's done. That license is not convertible to any other license. That license is good for that aircraft, that airline. That's pretty much it. So everything that is invested until that point is, I don't have to say it. If we don't have to say it, actually.
It can go in vain.
Yeah. That's about MPL program. Now, is it bad? Not necessarily. Because when you are in that program, you do what is required. Same with cadet pilot program, same with commercial pathway. Whatever that is required, if you do that, you're good. You do your 1500 hours, you become the first officer. Okay. You become the first officer only after you clear your ATPL exams. MPL is like a CPL. Then you have the ATPL exams. You do the type rating exams, basically whatever that are there, the checks and everything. Then you are awarded as ATPL holder. So that training actually on paper ends at that time. See, training never finishes. Every day is learning, absolutely. But actual as per license, the training ends at that time.
Yes, and then you start training for command.
Yeah. Okay, so that is what it is. Now, I'm no one to comment whether that is right or wrong or whatever. That is up to the authorities to decide. We do not know. Okay. But what we can see is this MPL program is being conducted in other states, like other countries. And those countries are offering CPL programs. Their authorities have CPL programs as well as MPL programs, because MPL program is not possible without collaboration with an airline. It has to be collaborated with an airline. And a state cannot offer something that is not possible to do on your own. So usually when you begin, you like in future, whenever, if this is implemented, these are just the possibilities. Okay. Do not hold me for it. Okay. Whenever, if it is implemented, it will be such as that India offers CPL program as well as MPL program with so and so airline, with all the airlines possibly, because if one airline comes with it, all the airlines will come
Major
up,
carriers
major
at least,
carriers
like,
will come up with
yeah.
it. That's the likelihood of MPL. Any other thoughts about MPL?
Let's wait for the final draft. And
Yeah.
let's see. Yeah. This is just a notice which we have gone through. And there has been a committee formed whether to implement MPL, if it's going to be implemented, how they are going to go about it. And we thought that it would be a good thing to share with all the aspiring pilots what's going on in the aviation industry and in the coming future. So more discussion we can do once in, let's say, November or December, once everything is finalized by DGCA.
Absolutely. All of that we said is from the discussions with the friends that we had at in the US, and those were training for their MPL programs from different airlines. There were like Chinese cadets, there were Saudi cadets, there were cadets from different countries in that school, and they had different programs, their different requirements. Whatever that we are discussing is what are the requirements in their country, in their airlines. That is what it is. So yeah, that's about it. Now, as we know, to TDLR, okay, TDLR, it is likely to be an option, not the only pathway.
What's TDLR?
Too long didn't read the Gen Z terms. We are not Gen Zs, but we synopsis, short, summary. The new way of saying summary is TDLR. TD and then that oblique and then LR.
He's confused. He's like,
All right, so it's a short
Summary,
form for TDLR, summary. In our times we would say summary.
you have to teach it to Shivansh.
Yeah, no,
TDLR.
Shivansh will teach us.
Yeah.
Here's what Gen Alpha, right?
Bravo.
Gen Bravo.
Bravo का भी बहुत I mean towards the end.
And
Sorry. Gen Alpha का towards
End.
the end.
so it's a
As in
fusion
the-
of alpha and brow.
Okay,
The junior.
Alpha
most-
and
then
beta.
he'll do this to Neha. What is this? Chintan, what is
I
it?
don't know.
Acha, I don't know either. To be honest, it's called something mewing or something.
Acha, that thing. Your tongue, you place your tongue.
I don't know. That's yeah. The new generation does it. The kids do it.
Gen Bravo started in 2025.
Okay.
He's Gen Alpha in
Okay.
2024. The junior most
Cool.
Gen Alpha, almost Gen Bravo.
No cap. Okay. No cap means for real. For reals meaning really. Chat GPT, Gen Z terms. That's what I did. That's how I have this vocabulary so far. And my vocabulary finished right here. Whatever that I said until now, that's all that I know. I said everything that I knew about the Gen Z
Gen
terms. No, Gen Zs. Gen Zs are amazing. Gen Zs are awesome. Fast with many things. Shorter attention span, but if you know how to increase it, then that is an asset. Then ADHD is spoken a lot about. But then again, if you know how to leverage it in your advantage, it's the asset. That's that's about it.
Okay.
All right, let's not
We're
go on.
deviating off track.
It's okay. we spoke for a long time on track, so little bit of
Yeah, and our audience,
yeah, absolutely.
it's relevant to the audience.
Absolutely.
They'll connect with us.
Yeah. No, Gen Zs are amazing. There is no doubt about it. Every next generation is amazing. The previous generation has a tendency to feel that it's different. It's different doesn't mean it's wrong. There is a lot for. Okay, in our generation, we are better at using these than our parents. Correct? Would that make sense? So can we teach them how to use these to our parents? Yeah, for sure, we did. Okay, so now there is a lot to learn from Gen Zs, and Gen Zs have a lot to learn from millennials. It's the exchange that will go on for centuries, for decades. Since the inception of humankind, it has been going on. And absolutely, we think that the life is more easier for the next generation. We didn't have chat GPT in our younger years. Okay, now newer generation has it. Is it bad? No, hell not. It is good, right? By design, we want our next generation to live a better life than we did. You want Shivansh to live a better life than you did. That's the purpose. So that's by design. The next generation has to have a better life than we had.
Correct.
I can't stop, guys. I can't. It's yeah. It's like I carry philosophy in my wherever I go, and I like to think that way. Anyway, let's get back to it. MPL versus CPL. I hope that has covered it all.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. TDLR. We were on TDLR. Okay. So TDLR cost almost the same. Training period essentially longer.
For MPL.
For MPL. Yeah. Flexibility, lesser flexibility with MPL than CPL. Competencies are different in both pathways, but all are required. So that's for you to decide which competencies are better for modern aviation and which is not. Okay, yeah. The exams will still be conducted by the regulator. Exams cannot be conducted by private authorities. DGCA exams will still exist. Okay, so CNTA
yeah.
still will exist. Whether CNTA has existed since 2008 until 2000 now 25 and counting for decades to come. So yes, exams will still be there. Speaking of exams, ATPL exams are removing the viva, and that is proposed. We do not know if it will be integrated or not, but that there cannot be a better news for I and Chintan and all the first officers that have not yet cleared the ATPL exams. Why we haven't cleared? Because we are waiting for certain amount of experience and studying the type specific studies right now and focusing on that more than ATPL exams. We will do it as we get closer to the requirement.
Yeah, and it's also proposed that ATPL will happen on demand. Like
Yeah.
we have
Yes.
CNTAA on demand modules to study
Yeah.
anytime, anywhere.
Yeah.
And if ATPL on demand mode of examination happen, then it will be very easy for first officers to give the exams, because we are bounded by time. So when we are flying, we don't get sufficient time to study.
Right.
And sometimes we are flying on the day of examination as well. So we have to wait for the 3 to 4 months to appear for the next attempt. So if the ATPL exam becomes on demand, then first officers will be able to clear the ATPL exam, and then they can go for the command upgrade, and they'll have an ATPL in hand.
Speaking of fast track, this is fast track.
Yes, and
This will fast track.
this will fast track, and I think
From
the
first
regulator,
officer,
to
CPL holder to ATPL holder.
yes, CPL to ATPL and then ATPL to command, depending upon the
Correct,
airline
correct,
requirements.
correct.
And as you mentioned, fast track. So what do you think? Why is the regulator taking actions to make the training fast track, as we discussed the MPL program now of the ATPL on demand? So what do you think the reason could be?
Okay, so I think Capt.Neha, you should take this question because we both do not have ATPLs. Okay, you
Yes.
have ATPL, so we don't we speak about the things that we know.
Alright.
Now you have cleared your ATPL exams not once but twice.
That's because it lapsed in 2009.
That's
Then I
okay. You
cleared
can
in
give it every day and pass.
2015.
No, we will also pass it.
I mean,
but
we
like
will pass, but we have to study or revise.
burning the
a bit,
midnight
yeah.
oil.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, if we
Yes.
study for a week or two, that should be enough. But for Capt.Neha, it's like if you open an exam now, she'll pass. 100 on 100. Like we did the quiz earlier before starting this podcast.
So,
Yes.
with reference to fast track, to Chintan's questions, it's your question to answer.
Yes, that's because now this proposal, which is proposed to DGCA from the pilot organizations and pilot bodies, so that is towards, first of all, if this proposal is approved, it is going to fast track the CPL holder to ATPL holder, and basically the first officer to senior first officer grade will happen faster, because they will have every month opportunity to apply for the ATPL exam. Other than that, with the removal of viva, so first of all, anyway, the first officer has to study for the required knowledge, and anyway the questions which are there, they are not like set questions where the are just copy pasted and the same type of questions, but of course it does require good amount of understanding and studies. So as long as the theory is cleared, and majority of the in overseas, like except for US does have viva after for every like PPL, CPL, ATPL. So here also it was there, but I mean now also it is there, but this proposal is towards since anyway as the ATPL holder, when those pilots go for command upgrade, the airline does conduct stringent assessment tests like written exam followed by interview. So as long as they are anyways going to undergo, and before going to take the actual charge of the aircraft which is whose has all of weight greater than 5700 kgs, they are undergoing a lot of training process anyway. So since the training is going to be stringent, this removal of viva is going to be helpful, so that is going to be another milestone in the aviation industry in India.
Absolutely. So, okay, because you asked the question, I will also answer my view on this. It's like there is shortage of ATPL holders.
Captains.
There is shortage of captains. There is shortage of experienced pilots. CPL holders, there is no shortage. Now, if this is fast tracked and all the first officers in all the airlines quickly clear their DGCA exams, now that bottleneck of shortage is also resolved. And then that shortage will be met. And if those first officers move to the next step in their career, then the first officer vacancies will open up. Because when the aviation grows, when new aircraft come, the shortage is not for just one pilot, it's for 15 pilots, 7.5 pilots, first officers, 7.5 pilots, captains. So anywhere in the world, there is always a shortage of captains, not shortage of first officers usually, because that is the first step when you join, when any pilot joins an airline, and it is easier to induct first officers than it is to induct captains. So that's what it is. Now that those upgrades will definitely create space for new inductions first officers as well. That's how I would look at it. What do you say?
Yes. So this fast track of the process or the upgrade is done merely to meet the demand which will be coming in the next 5 years.
Absolutely.
So all the amendments which are proposed now are due to the growth which will be happening in future in the coming next 5 years. So if they plan it now, so there won't be any shortage in the coming 5 years. Otherwise, if there is shortage, then we'll have infrastructure, but we won't have pilots to operate those aircrafts.
Absolutely. So those are that's it, right? About this ATPL Vivas cancellation. Then yeah, that is good for us. We need to start revising the stuff that we had studied already again. Open the CNTAA student portal again. Speaking of CNTAA, if you are an aspiring pilot, sign up for CNTAA, or you can book a consultation call with CNTAA representative Franklin 9930300426 if you are serious about becoming a pilot. Franklin will take your consultation, and if you are eligible, then you can apply for CNTAA ground classes for the DGCA exams. All these changes that we mentioned aren't coming overnight. Those will come over the years, not even like in months. Those will come over the years. Those are just proposed. Likeliness of anything changing overnight is not there. Now, there will be a gap in which these two programs will run simultaneously. Then there will be time given to the airlines and given by the authorities for the existing CPL holders to bridge themselves to different programs. It's not, no authority is likely to make any changes that will take away anyone's career as such. Absolutely.
Yeah.
It is the government's responsibility, and government does it well. Okay, it's usually tries to keep it non-biased as much as possible, whichever government that is in force. Okay, that's the job of the government, and hopefully they do it right.
Yeah.
Okay, so Speaking of DGCA exams and CNTAA, now as the exams are approaching, right? Next month, September, dates are out.
The
No.
dates are out for the entire year.
Entire.
The proposed estimated or tentative dates, and the exam for August just got over day before, so
Right.
the result is expected today or tomorrow.
Awesome.
So yeah, September will be a regular attempt.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So speaking of results, we would love to give shout out to some of the CNTA students that have scored great results. Chintan, you'll give. Okay, I'll give 2 shout outs. You give 2. You give, yeah. Or you are gonna take it all. Go ahead.
So we have an amazing result in DGC exam by CNTAA students, and they have topped in India not only in one of the attempt but in consistently over years and over one and the other attempt. So we are just talking about right now 2025 toppers, and
All
we will-
India toppers.
All India
in
toppers.
DGCA exams in that
Yes,
respective subject.
So we have an amazing result in the DGC exam by CNTAA students, and they have topped in that respective subject in the particular attempt in 2025. So we would like to give a big shout out to Shravani Bhagat, who scored 96 out of 100 in navigation. Then Daksh Kothari, who scored 94 out of 100 in navigation. Muskan Bhimani has scored 95 out of 100 in air navigation. Then she has scored in regulation 92 out of 100. That was topper in that attempt.
Regulations, yeah. Because regulations
Yes.
92 is a
Yes.
huge
Huge.
score.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Then Pranav Verma has scored 98 out of 100 in meteorology, and Rishikesh Deshpande has scored 98 out of 100 in meteorology. So that's amazing score to
That's just DGCA toppers in current year. Okay.
Yes.
And other results are also really high marks, high scoring marks. And CNTA does not mean to take the credit for all of it. It's 100% credit to all of you students who have achieved this. CNTA is happy that we were the contributing factor to it. Okay, the whole team CNTA, Capt.Neha, Captain Pankaj, and the whole support team that is there in CNTA is really glad that with your efforts and CNTA's contribution, these are the results that could be achieved. So it's amazing. Now, if you are looking to pass DGCA exams, join CNTA. If you are only serious about becoming a pilot, okay? Join CNTA. I mean, see, when you come and take a consultation with Franklin, there is an eligibility criteria. There are seats availability. But first, eligibility criteria. If you are meeting the eligibility criteria, we'd love to have you at CNTAA. Okay, that's what it is. Apart from that, okay, if you want to self-study, then how do you self-study? Okay, where say you want to pay with time and not with money. Yeah, CNTA is expensive, definitely expensive. But we have a huge team and we have great results and we have limited seats. So that is the pricing, whatever the pricing that is, Franklin will convey with you. But say if you want to pass your exams on your own, what is the fundamentals of how do you pass DGCA exams? Or how did I pass DGCA exams? We'll talk individually. Capt.Neha has trained over 1,500 students at least so far from 2008, since 2008.
Actually, it's more.
It is way more. It is it is way more. But even if we be conservative, more than 1,500 students have been trained directly. Okay. Now, you taught us, okay, for the DGCA exams, and the knowledge is still with us. So thank you for that. If we were to do it again, which we will be for ATPL exams, but say we were to do it for the CPL exams, how would you recommend us to study?
So we follow SSRR model where I would recommend students at even CNTAA to follow that. First of all, study a particular chapter, understand the concept in that particular
What
chapter.
is SSRR? Just
So we will go with the first one, S for study. Okay. Now, in that, let's say navigation, which is one of the most challenging subject to study and then clear. So in that, there are 6 sections: general navigation, radio aids, flight instruments, mass and balance, flight planning, and aircraft performance. So let's say you start with general navigation, first chapter, Earth. So there you will need to understand the concepts, how the distances are there, great circle distance, rum line distance, north south, east west distances, right? Then D long, D lat, and how to find that, all those things, right? So you understand those concepts first, okay? And thereafter, the second S is solve, okay? Study, then solve. So here there are plenty of questions which would be there on that particular chapter. So there are many types of questions. So understand how it is done, okay, with the help of a book or with our modules at CNTAA. So once you understand, then you will need to solve many questions like that so that you get better at it. Okay, so you need to repeat those. Okay, that is the R. So study, solve, repeat. Okay, so you will need to repeat that until you understand, yes, this is the way it
And
needs to be done,
confident
and
about it.
confident about it. So you finish that particular chapter.
Because in
with
navigation,
the
if we look at
questions.
it, there are different iterations of different
Types.
particular concept, right?
Correct.
The
Types
and
of questions.
if we repeat it several times, navigation, when I gave it, okay, you understand it one, but now speed also has to be developed
Correct.
because it's 100 questions, 100 marks, and some of the questions have a solving of good one long page in order to come to the answer. Now, the speed doesn't come unless we have repeated it several times and all different iterations of it several times.
Types.
So yeah, so the repeat
Correct.
makes a lot of sense.
Correct.
Yeah.
So it needs to be repeated so that you are better at it and you expedite while solving accurately. And then let's say you do that for a particular chapter. Now you go to the next chapter, directions, wind triangle. Okay. So the same thing you have to do it for those chapters. Now let's say you complete general nav, you've started radio aids. Now whatever you've learned in the first chapter of general nav like Earth, you might have started to forget.
Yeah.
So you will need to revise that again, right? So that needs to be revised along with studying the fresh chapters, right? So if that is done simultaneously along with learning the new knowledge, then so that is revision, right? So that's the last R. So study, solve, repeat, and revise. So once you do that and then keep on learning the new concepts, then you will be better at it and you will be able to get confident with whatever you have done so far. Otherwise, by the end of the chapter or end of the syllabus, the first chapter would
will
have
be-
forgotten and then you
Yeah.
have to do all over again.
Yeah.
So simultaneously keep doing the revision as well.
Yeah.
So that will make you more confident.
We have a saying at CNTAA that the newly acquired knowledge evaporates faster than boiling water. Like seriously, that's just how it is, because the knowledge is so new, the concepts are so new that unless someone revises it, it's very, very difficult to. It's like overestimating one's capability of being able to remember it in the DGCA exams without revising it. Now, there are different persons. Someone has a memory that requires 2 to 3 revisions, some require 5 revisions. So whatever that each individual student requires, and there is no shame in it. As long as you score well in the DGCA exams, like the students we mentioned, it's all good. It's all good, right? That's what it is. So on the basis of this model, this is from my times of 2018 when I finished my DGCA exams. This is the sticky notes from that. Okay. I don't know if you can see it on the, is it in the focus? And this is not just this. This was my bedtime. Before bedtime, if I haven't done this, I won't go to sleep. This is what it was. Okay. 100 questions nav, 50 questions met, 50 questions regs. Now, Chintan would have more studying techniques than, but yeah, when I studied, Capt.Neha taught me I didn't have the access to on-demand modules. So I did this over a period of 3 months and passed all 3 subjects in 3 months. But Chintan did it in 30 days.
Yeah.
So this is what I did, and there are more behind those. Okay.
What is written on that?
ये तो मत पूछे कभी तू मत पूछे.
Okay.
Okay. So if I take this out, what is this? This is all the formulas or primary concepts that I need to know or I must know. I'm very protective of these, so I'm not gonna. Yeah, Harsh will put on the screen my study tables photo, which has all these sticky notes. There are many of these sticky notes, and those were in front of my study table. And I would not go to bed unless I have read all through those notes. And this is like all the formula that are there for the CPL. Okay, all formula. There is no formula that is not there in this. So have something like that.
Yeah, but it's really good that you have kept this. It's like new and you can refer it anytime you want.
It's a very dear to me. This is what helped me score 90 in this navigation. See now this is TSI.
Rate of turn.
Rate of turn. All the formula. Rate 1 turn, rate 2 turn, bank angle, then all of those. Now what is the radius of turn formula and all everything that if there is anything in the DGCA syllabus that is must know and should be on top of your head, like just over a period of time what happened. So this I'm saying about revise, repeat and revise is like over a period of time what happened was on my 70th or 80th day of preparation, I didn't even have to look at each sticky note. I knew what each had, and I knew because every night before going to bed, if you are looking at the same thing, see now I understand that all the checklists that we do are read and do and are must read and do, but we deliberately read and do. We all know the checklists. Those are not supposed to be known, but we all know the checklists by memory. Those are not supposed to be done by memory. Those are read and do, and we do those read and do. At the same time, our memory works such a way that if you are doing it every single day, you just know it. You just know it. So make this that back of your hand knowledge. And if you do that, कोई माय का लाल रुका दे तुम्हें पास आने से. Okay, sorry about that. Okay, but that's the gist of it. And so what are your tips, Winged Engineer? 30 days, 3 exams.
So tips, I would just ask you one simple question. Let's say you plan something today, and how often does it happen that you are not able to follow that plan?
Okay, that depends upon the conscientiousness.
Yeah.
Right.
So that depends upon the priority of
Yeah.
what you want, right?
Absolutely.
If I say
Absolutely.
it for, yeah, okay. So at that time, I remember in the month of November, I was just back from the US. And my number one priority was to clear DGCA exams. So I made a plan similar to Capt.Neha's strategy. So I have to study, then I have to solve certain number of questions, and then I have to revise before going to bed for all three subjects in a day. So for studying, okay, I reached out to a couple of ground classes to give me a crash course because I just had 30 days for my exam. So most of them told it's not possible and you should consider the next attempt. But I was determined that I want to clear everything in this attempt only. And at that time only Capt.Neha, so during the COVID period, she had time, so she had recorded all the on-demand module, and that was the arrangement which was made for me. So I was grateful that it happened at that particular time, and I was the first student for that.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
So I got the first thing, which is the study, like the guidance from the mentor, which is required. Second, two things like the solving of the questions and the revision were up to me to do or no. So I had made the plan, and before going to bed, I had to put in those numbers of, let's say, 10 to 12 hours a day, and there was no option of not doing it.
Exactly.
Okay, so that is the reason I was able to achieve it.
Yeah.
So if I was lenient, okay, I'll give it in the next month. Let's sleep. Let's
Yeah.
not wake up at 6 a.m. and
Exactly.
study. So I wouldn't have clear at that time. So that's what I was like. If you plan and if you have it on number one priority, there's no reason for anyone to clear anything or achieve anything they want in life.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's like, so, okay, again, my quote will pop up now. It is, do it or don't, but if you don't, stop wanting it.
Yeah.
Right? Like, if you want to do it, if you want to become a pilot, then do what's required. Live the life that is expected to be lived in order to become a pilot. If you want to become a doctor, live the life that is expected to study the 12th, study the seat, the exams, entrance exams, study and pass those exams, get a seat. You live the life that is required by your aspiration. And simple, do it or don't. But if you don't, stop wanting it. Right? So if you want to become a pilot, do it. What's required? Now these are the things that are required. Now if you see what Chintan said and what he did and what I did, what Capt.Neha did, there is, and she has a model for it. Study, solve, repeat, revise. We did that. This is that. Okay, this is not all the study. this is just back of your hand kind of thing that one must know. Like, if you wake up from the sleep and being asked about something, some formula, this is that. This is everything. But then implementation of those formula, and the first page is 100 nav, 50 met, 50 regs. That's the first page of it. Now you can make something like that of your own, or if you join CNTAA will guide you how it is to be made. Yeah, that's about it. Now, if you are serious about becoming a pilot and decide to apply for CNTAA ground training, whether it is offline, in-person training in classroom in Mumbai, or it is on demand, or it is live, what does first week in CNTAA students life look like?
Yes, so if in case you are going to training center, then you have from morning 9 o'clock till evening 4 o'clock classes, which will be for navigation and meteorology, and that will go on. With the break definitely in between, you have lunch break of between 1 to 2, and once you study that particular concept, then there will be certain questions given to you to solve at home, so which you will do it at home, as well as once that chapter is over, then you have you can consider watching revision modules if you want to, or you can go for a quiz, okay, which is there, and there are certain additional questions which are also put up, which for your better practice,
The
more
DGCA like
practice.
question
Yes.
banks, the
Yes,
mock
yes.
DGCA question
Correct.
papers.
So there will be quizzes based on each chapter. So if in case you're going for the on demand, then the same the entire concepts are explained by myself on the modules itself, and you can consider watching them again if you want to, and then you solve a quiz. So that way you go ahead with the further chapters, and that's the way you
So-
continue to revise.
So say if someone joins CNTA, say if I join CNTA, first week of my onboarding would look like CNTA has a team to help you apply for the computer number, to help you apply for the EGCA ID, which is required for class 2 and class 1 medicals. And we make sure that your medical class 2 at least is done within first 30 days, so that you know that you are in the right direction. Without class 2, starting pilot training doesn't make sense. And yes, the CNTA fees are non-refundable, but there is one exception to it. If anybody is declared as permanently unfit in their basically training period during their class 2, which is done within the first 30 days of enrollment with CNTA, their fees are refunded if the person is declared as permanently unfit. So onboarding process is you're introduced to Capt.Neha, Captain Pankaj personally. Once that is done, team takes it from there for the application of your computer number and the application of your EGCA ID. Then you are handed over the proprietary DGCA training notes from CNTA. Those are curated by Capt.Neha herself and the team. Everything that is in there is curated by Capt.Neha. And now your onboarding is done. Now, whether if you have enrolled for 5 subjects or 3 subjects nav met regs, upon that your training duration will be dependent. Usually combining, if you're doing 5 subjects, combining two subjects makes sense rather than doing all 5 at once, which is a hell of a task to do 5 subjects. I mean, you can do it if you are about that, but what is recommended is, this is I'm talking about in-person classroom training, okay? And if 3 subjects are there, your training duration is 3.5 to 4 months. Now if your computer number gets delayed for some reason, then that can be extended. Otherwise 3.5 to 4 months is the good training duration, in which, say, the syllabus is completed within that, but if computer number is still not issued by the DGCA, then this period can extend. Now, while CNTA team helps you apply for computer number by sitting next to you or over a video call or over a call, the application is done. CNTA gives no guarantee of the computer number being issued, because the authority that issues computer number is DGCA, and there are certain minor reasons. See, still we do have success ratio in computer numbers as well, a high success ratio. At the same time, there are some computer numbers that are rejected for XYZ reasons. Okay, that is beyond our control. That is there. And then as soon as you get your class 2 medical within first month of starting with CNTA, then you are good with the whole training. in this whole period, in first week, your training has already started, but if anything goes wrong with the medical, then unfortunately the training stops there. And yeah, that's one thing that is there, which is not very fortunate to hear. Primary reason for medical unfitnesses is usually color vision. That is the problem that
I mean, what we have observed
what we
in
have
recent
observed
past,
in recent past, in last few years, is
or
color vision
partial, hearing
or
loss. as
hearing
well.
loss. Those are the primary things. Apart from that, usually nothing significant is found. Okay, so that's about it. And over a period of coming months, how the training is done, Chintan will take over from here.
And you also get CNTA proprietary notes. So now what I've seen is like students run after like notes from each of the ground school, and then they compare notes and study from different notes, and at the end they are confused like, okay, which one should I refer and stuff. So CNT, what I thought when I was studying is like it's a combination of everything available in the syllabus. As per DGCA syllabus, it is made in a concise format and very easy to understand with the help of diagrams and the graphics which have been there in the notes. And once you go through their notes, you will understand it just by reading once. And you also get a small pilot tag when you get your notes, and when you look at that tag every day, it reminds you where you have to be, so you keep on working and keep on grinding that, right? And then when we speak about the environment, okay, now let's say you want to plant a mango tree. Okay, where will you plant it? Would you plant it in a desert, or you will plant it in a normal, like let's say black soil where mango trees can grow?
Plant it in Ratnagiri.
Yeah, so you'll get the best mangoes out of it, right?
Right.
Yeah. So similar is something like environment plays a very important role for someone to flourish when they are starting. Okay. So CNTA, the environment which we provide at the training center, is way above than anyone provides in India. So as soon as a student enters the training center, you will feel the vibe. Okay, everything is modern. We have the latest projector, latest sound system. There won't be any echo in the classroom, and the seating is comfortable.
We have meticulously looked into each
yes.
thing in order to make it like really a good experience for students.
Yes. So I remember when we were just designing with the architect and stuff, we used to sit in that chair like
Correct.
for let's say 2 hours, and then we also took the test of the sound system, like how is it
audible well enough from each chair that is like
so and then we placed the air conditioning in such a way that the students who are sitting at the end of the classroom are not feeling suffocated. So the whole environment is such that when you enter, you'll feel like studying. And then let's say if you even get tired, we have a coffee machine. Take your coffee shot and be and you start studying again. So that is what it is. And then
coffee is on the house. We have the CCD machine. Those are the bells and whistles.
Yes. So it's a great learning environment, I would say, to start. And I haven't seen anywhere. So when I was in my 12th, I've done my civil engineering as well. So we used to prepare for the MHCET and the GE.
Right.
So the difference you feel. So there I would feel like, okay, I'm going, and like everything is so cramped. There were the benches, right? You can't even sit there for more than an hour.
Especially with our heights.
Yes. And then the more focus is on the back. Okay, my back is now not comfortable. So whatever is taught is not like registered in my head. Okay, so my focus is going somewhere else. But here you will be just focused on the teaching and
correct.
a great environment to study. So any of the aspiring pilot, anyone of you watching here, if you happen to be in Mumbai and you would like to visit the training center, see how it is, you are more than welcome. Captain Pankaj will be there. He'll show you around the training center, how is it, what we do. And yeah, that's and we would like to have you at the training center, see
Yeah.
the facility.
Yeah,
And,
and attend the demo
yeah.
lessons if you are eligible. Before attending the lessons, demo lessons, you will need to go through the eligibility criteria with Franklin. And if you are eligible, then attend the demo lessons. We would love to welcome you at CNTAA. Here's once again, if you start with CNTA, here's what you get. Okay, first onboarding, welcome and introduction with Capt.Neha and Captain Pankaj. Then team will help you apply for your DGCA computer number. Team will help you apply for your EGCA ID, which is required for your class 2 and class 1. Once that is done, then you get the online access to all the CNTA training modules. Even if you are in person classroom training, you do get access to the CNTA training modules from Capt.Neha, and those training modules cover each chapter, each subject in detail with DGCA questions that are there, the recent DGCA questions that have been there. All of that is in those modules. Why it is helpful? Again, revise after 1 month. If you want to go through the same lecture again and understand from it once again, if you feel like you need to know the concept or revise the concept once again, you go to that chapter and see that at 1 o'clock in the morning. See, there is a student support and there is doubt solving and everything is there. But at 2 o'clock in the morning, it's difficult, right? So you can go to the training module and check the training module at 2 o'clock in the morning. Also, your doubt will be solved in that. Don't call Capt.Neha or Captain Pankaj at 2 o'clock, please. Please don't do
The
that.
question is already explained there.
Yeah.
So all the questions are explained in the video.
In the
lectures.
working times, you can call them, okay? Otherwise, not in the at 2 o'clock in the morning, okay? So those are the CNTA training modules. Once you have the CNTA training modules, all the proprietary CNTA notes that explain everything to you, those notes will be handed over. The bundle of those notes will be handed over to you. And so many more things. Yeah, okay. And yeah, you do get, like Chintan said, the access to environment, the studying environment that is there. If you are on live, your doubts will be solved on over call or over video calls. If you are on demand, same, your doubt solving is done, okay, on the videos, and everything is there that is as a resource for you to clear DGCA exams. Does that mean that there is no effort required from your end? 100% not, okay? But the effort, what kind of effort is required, what path is to be followed, and how it is to be followed, and what is to be done is all explained for you, for it to make it easier for you, okay? To show you the path, to make your process shorter, to make and do minimum mistakes while you do that. And that way, in 3 to 3.5 months, with continuous efforts, your DGCA exams can be passed. Okay? That's about it. Now, if that sounds good, you can check your eligibility with Franklin, okay? Or sign up for CNTAA-online.in. You can call Franklin on 9930-300-426. And yeah, that's about CNTA. That's about, if you want to prepare on your own, you can. Whether you join CNTA or you don't join CNTA, we wish you a great luck in your career. Whichever career that it may be, if it is pilot career, then get that cockpit. Get that cockpit as soon as possible with the highest level of
Competence.
competencies, and we wish you good luck.
Thank you for watching this podcast until now and hope you enjoyed this podcast. And if you have any questions apart from what we have discussed, feel free to comment down in the comment section below, and see you in the next one. Bye bye.
Thank you so much for watching, viewing, and subscribing. If you are an aspiring pilot, my best wishes for you. And if you would like to join CNTAA, yes, we'll guide you all the way. Thank you so much.
Whether or not you join CNTA, it's completely up to you. If you are an aspiring pilot, we have only the best interest in our hearts for you. Thank you and good luck.